the street from each other. You know, we all know these houses of worship, mosque, temple. I mean, it's all in our community, but yet it's still the worst part of town. It's still considered the most dangerous part of town. When they want to close down schools, as they are, they close it down in our community. When business, they don't want to bring business in our community because when we bring a supermarket, then y'all gonna rob us blind. And yet, we have churches on every corner. We have mosques on every corner. We have temples on every corner. With this much religion, should North Tulsa be a better place? What makes our community so rich in religious history such a bad place to be? Matthew 7, verses 17 through 18. It reads, "So every good tree bears good fruit, but every bad tree bears bad fruit." What type of fruit are we producing? What type of fruit are we producing as a community? Muslim? Because we all caught up in this. Ain't nobody special. Muslim children, Christian children, Jewish children, we all caught up in it. But what type of fruit are we producing? According to a report produced by the Coalition to Target Racial Disparity in the Juvenile Justice System that was printed in the Tulsa World several months ago, it states that black youth make up 50% of the population in the Oklahoma juvenile justice system, a juvenile affairs system, but make up only 10%. Listen now, 10% of the youth population in Oklahoma. I'll say that again. Black youth make up 50% of the population in the Oklahoma juvenile affairs system, but make up only 10% of Oklahoma's youth population. It said 59% of youth have parents or family members with chronic history of criminal offenses. 49% have inadequate parental supervision. 26% experience family trauma or marital conflicts. 25% had parents or family members on drugs. And 13% had parents who are incarcerated. Matthew 11 and 19, Jesus states, "Wisdom is justified by her children." Wisdom is justified by her children. What type of wisdom, knowledge are we giving our children? You know, we really need to have conversations with our children. This lecture, in fact, was produced from a conversation that I had with my daughter. You know, I was taking her work, she don't like to talk to me. I think I'm getting her business. But I was asking my daughter, what do you believe? See, because our generation, we were made to be Baptists. We were made to be Church of Christ. We didn't have a choice. You know, and that kind of affected us in a way that we're bringing up our children somewhat differently. We want to work more on showing our children what it is to be that which we profess. So I'm asking my daughter, well, what do you want to do when you get out on your own? What do you think? And she was saying, well, I'm kind of inclined to Christian and Muslim. You know, she wasn't really definitive. So we had a conversation, and I began telling her about what I felt about Christianity and Islam and Judaism and getting to the basics of it, because we can't allow our children to be like us. We can't allow, I was born up in a type of environment. My parents, you know, they were spiritual. This word spiritual. They were spiritual, I guess. But my father's side of the family, Church of Christ. My mother's side of the family, Baptist. So this Sunday, we would be at the Church of Christ. The following Sunday, we would be at the Baptist church. And I was like, man, they talking about the same dude. Now here I am, a young dude. I'm a young, you know, shorty. What they say, shorty. I'm a young cat. And I'm like, man, they talking about the same dude. Why are you so divided? And it was evident, even with our family reunions, I would notice as a young person that I knew where the Church of Christ people were in my own family. I knew where the Baptists were in my own family, because they kind of set off to themselves. And I hate it, even to this day. I just told my cousin in California, because we were scheduling for a family reunion up in California. I said, one thing thing I hate about family reunions is Sunday, the day we should come together and thank God for being together. We always depart. We don't even like, I don't know if it's like that in y'all family, but every time I went to a family reunion on Sunday, when that should be the day we should be thanking God that we are together, we out of there. We gone. We don't even want to deal with that. We don't want to have those type of conversations. We don't even want to address the issue. We out of there, man. I done drunk, I done had a good time, I done partied, went to the casino, whatever I did. But God ain't even brought up in it. So I always had a dislike growing up for that type of division and how religion has divided us. So, in having a discussion with my daughter, I tried and am trying to get her to understand that it's not what you call yourself. That's right. It's what you practice. Right. You can call yourself, we got a lot of Muslims talking about I'm a Muslim and drinking and smoking and sleeping around and doing everything else under the sun. We got a lot of Christians call themselves Christians, drinking and smoking and all that type of stuff. A lot of people call themselves what they want to call themselves, but very few people are practicing what they preach. Right. So we got to teach our children to practice what they preach, and the key to doing that is we ourselves got to become that example in our life, or in their life. One of the greatest knowledge that we can teach our children is the knowledge of God. In Job 28:28, it reads, "Behold, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom, and to depart from evil is understanding." This fear that we should be teaching our children about God is not that spooky stuff. Step on a crack, break your mama back type of fear. Afraid of black cats, afraid of, scary movies. That's just ignorant stuff. We have that fear based upon ignorance. We don't understand something. Don't walk up on the ladder. You're going to have bad luck the rest of your life. That's fear based upon ignorance. But the fear that we should be teaching our children concerning God is a fear that's defined as awe or apprehension arising from awareness of a superior or uncontrollable power or force. Profound reverence, especially for the supreme being. That's the type of fear that we should be teaching our children. Profound reverence for the supreme being. They don't have a fear of God. They don't have a fear of parents. They don't have a fear of elders. We always talk about when we was growing up, man, if you got in trouble, Miss what-you-call whoop you, Mr. what-you-call whoop you, and then when you got home, your parents will whoop you. We used to talk about that, but nowadays, you try to raise your hand at one of these shots, you're going to get shot. Come on. You're going to get straight shot. You don't get shot by the child if you don't get shot by the parent, because that type of respect, that type of the reverence is not there anymore. That's right. So we have to, we have a work to do in our community, but it begins with us. I seldom think that the reason why we don't have that type of fear in this generation, type of reverence for elders, for God, is because maybe, I have to look at myself. Maybe I didn't like getting whooped by Mrs. Jones, and then getting whooped by Mr. Whatchamacallit, and then getting whooped by my parents when I got home. So maybe I begin raising my children up. Don't let them teach you. We have to check ourselves. Are we the root cause of why that type of environment is gone? Did we resent it to a point that we, in our own resentment, raise our own children not to respect elders? Come on. We have to check ourselves. We got to check the tree. We can't blame the fruit. They don't have a fear of God, parents, police, etc. In fact, the root cause of why they changed the direction or shortened the path of the MLK parade was due to the lack of parental supervision on many of our children. While many of us were complaining about why the MLK parade was shortened, some of us who have property along Greenwood said, man, y'all better get them Negroes out of here. They done destroyed my property, shot through my window, set on my car, scratched my car all up, killed my dog, took my pit bull. It was that type, these type of, it's real, I ain't joking. They were complaining, people's dogs were getting stolen, man. You imagine? You had the MLK parade and your dog, you look at, man, where's my dog? What spot? Somebody touched spot. So, many of us, because of our children and their conduct, there was a complaint made, so that's why the MLK parade was shortened. In fact, they were about to cancel it all together had not Pledge Thompson, the former president of the NAACP, had fought for that, to even have it where we had it. So we got to look into why we complain and cry about certain things. But the reason why our youth don't have this respect, this reverence, is because they are presented with a cut or fragmented version of the knowledge as it relates to the Word of God. And when I'm talking about a cut, you know, back in the street, back in the day when you was on the street doing that thing, I ain't gonna talk about Brother Russell. No, but you know, we used to cut stuff. You know, we make it less potent than what it's supposed to be because we cut it with something, baking soda, whatever it is, we cutting something up. We making it less potent. And that's what we have done with religion. We take religion, we take it in its purest form, and then we cut it. And we cut it with pride. We cut it with our egos, we cut it with our jealousies, we cut it with our own perception of the Word of God, and we cut it. Then we have the audacity to present what we have cut to the world as truth. Mm-hmm. The most honorable Elijah Mama teaches us that any time that you take something from the original, you make devil. You have grafted it. A lot of people didn't understand what he was saying concerning the white man. When he said the white man was a devil, he wasn't talking about race and hate religion. He was talking about a scientific fact. That when you take something and take it out of the original form, you make scientific. This is a scientific term. Look it up in the medical books. Anything grafted from the original scientifically is referred to as devil. A grapefruit is a devil fruit because it's a grafted fruit made from two other fruits that are natural. And much of what we are about to begin to eat today is devil. They grafted everything, got grafted peas, grafted corn, just eating the devil up. And they say you are what you eat. So if we eating devil and grafted food, we should be surprised when we start to act in a devilish manner.
Devil food cake.
That's right, devil peas, black-eyed devils. So anything cut or fragmented is scientifically called devil. So here we are expecting our youth to act good while we're nurturing them on a devil religion, a grafted religion, something taken out of its natural form. And we expect them to act in a right manner, when in truth they're being just as rebellious as we are. If we want them to do better, we too have to do better. And we have to be the example for them. Judaism, Christianity, Islam is not a choice for the righteous, it's a pathway. You may ask, the pathway to what? To a kingdom on earth as it is in heaven. We talk about it, we preach about it, but as they used to say in the streets, we got to be about it. We all have learned that prayer, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So our job, our task is to build ourselves a heaven. It's time out for going and talking about South Tulsa, Awassa, and Jinx. They have built themselves up a heaven. When you go into their communities, it's gated, it's neat. You feel like you can leave your car with the windows down and unlocked. I had to check myself sometimes because I'll be out cutting grass, and with my lawn care business, and I may leave my stuff unlocked. Because I don't, but when I get north, I'm, locking stuff up. It's just a condition I got to deal with. But, they have built themselves up a heaven. So we have a responsibility to be on the path to build ourselves up to heaven, and we cannot do it divided as we are. 1 Corinthians 14:33, he said, for God is not the author of confusion, but of peace, and in all the congregations of the saints. When we look at our schools, community, etc., do our children appear confused about their future, their sexual orientation, their purpose? Do they appear frustrated? You're hearing children shooting teachers, and you even hearing teachers shooting students. I seen one video me and my wife was watching, and man, I swear to God, this woman She was so frustrated that the little child locked out the classroom. And I don't know, one of the other children had a cell phone and they were videotaping them. That woman was down like this. She was stealing on them, and she's like a dude. She was so frustrated with the child. And our children are being frustrated with us. So in the classroom, you're seeing murder. In the classroom, you see an adult attacking the child attacking the adult. Because we're dealing with an environment of people, particularly our youth, who are confused. They see us preaching and talking about this way of life, but they don't really see us exemplifying that way of life. Gangs, clubs, drug houses have all become greater sanctuaries for our children than the church, mosque, and temple. When we really sit down and ask the youth about religion, not what we told them about religion, most of them are as confused as bats. We can't blame the fruit. We must inspect the trees. The Creator designed us to physically go through stages of growth, from embryo to fully developed. In the same way, spiritually, He sent forth guides, Moses, Jesus, Abraham, to help us grow from the animalistic stage to children of the Most High God. These three expressions of faith, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, are progressive steps by which He intends to accomplish His goal. In order to understand how this is to be accomplished, we must return to the basics. Religion has become so confusing, with each of these religions further subdivided within itself. In Judaism, you have the Orthodox Jews, you have the conservative Jews, you have the Reformed Jews, you have the Hasidic Jews, the Herod Jews, the Reconstructionist Jews, the Rabbinic Jews, just to name a few. In Christianity, you have the Orthodox, you have the Baptist, you have the Pentecostal, you have the Church of Christ, Methodist, Apostolistic, over 33,820 denominations, just to name a few. In Islam, you have the Shia, the Sunni, the Wahhabi, the Sufi, the Hanafi, the